everyone. Welcome to the Township of Howell Planning Board meeting for Thursday, August 20th, 2026. Opening statement, please.
I hereby declare this meeting of the Howell Township Planning Board to be open, adequate notice having been given pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act in the following manner. First, on January 8th, 2026, a copy of said notice was emailed to the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger. Second, on January 8th, 2026, a copy of said notice was hand-delivered to the clerk of the Township of Howell. Third, on January 8th, 2026, said notice was posted in the office of the Planning Board and on the bulletin board in the Howell Township Municipal Building, 4567 Route 9, Howell Township, New Jersey. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code and for your safety, please be advised that this facility is designed with 2 emergency exits at the front and rear of the meeting room. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Township TV 77. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Beto.
Here.
Mr. Friedman.
Here.
Mr. Gimbel is absent. Mr. Greenfield is absent. Mr. Carbonic.
Here.
Mr. McNicholas.
Here.
Mr. Mercer.
Here.
Councilman Rebel.
Here.
Mr. Wetko.
Here.
Ms. Kaur.
Here.
Chairman Huzzer.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and afterwards a moment of silence for our men and women who have served both here and abroad. Okay, thank you. Okay, first we have an approval of minutes for the regular meeting of May 14th, 2026. Eligible voters, Mr. Beto, Mr. Friedman, Mr. Carbonic, Mr. McNicholas, Mr. Mercer, Councilman Rebel, Mr. Wetko, Ms. Carr, and myself. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Mr. Beto, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McNicholas?
Mr. Beto.
Yes.
Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic.
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas.
Yes.
Mr. Mercer.
Yes.
Councilman Rebel.
Yes.
Mr. Wetko.
Yes.
Ms. Kaur.
Yes.
Chairman Huzzer.
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved.
Thank you. And we have an approval of minutes for the regular meeting of May 21st, 2026. Eligible voters, Mr. Friedman, Mr. Carbonic, Mr. McNicholas, Mr. Wetko, Ms. Carr, and myself. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Carbonic, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Friedman? Is that you? Oh. Okay, we'll go with Mr. Friedman for the tie.
All right. Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic.
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas.
Yes.
Mr. Wetko.
Yes.
Ms. Kaur.
Yes.
Chairman Huzzer.
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved.
Thank you. Lisa, we do have some correspondence this evening.
Yes, there's an email from Jason Tavel asking the board to carry the application for case number SP 1147G7B LLC, which is on tonight's agenda, to September 3rd, 2026, with no further notice.
Thank you. Andy, would you mind?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Application or case number SP 1147 G7B LLC, preliminary and final major site plan with ancillary variance and design waiver relief. This matter is being carried, as noted, till September 3rd. If anyone is here for that or for this application, please come back on September 3rd. No further notice will be given.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other correspondence, Lisa?
Yeah, there was one other thing about ordinance O-2621. Impervious coverage requirements for residential zones was introduced by the council at Tuesday's meeting. Emailed to the board members and professionals this morning. The board needs to review for consistency with the master plan prior to the 9:15 council meeting.
Okay. Please, everybody, check your emails prior to next meeting, and we'll get it taken care of at the first September meeting.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
and that's it.
Lisa, any resolutions?
No resolutions.
Okay, on to submission waivers. The first is case number SD 3031, Bruce and Donna Bennett. This is for a minor subdivision with ancillary variance and design waiver relief. Good evening.
Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. Whatever Laura...
You know the deal, Sal.
Whatever Laura wants, we're going to do, so let's hear what she wants.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, on page 4 of our review letter dated May 15th, 2026, we outlined the submission waivers. And since this is a minor subdivision, for the purposes of deeming this application complete, I take no exception to them. I do recommend items C through F be provided on a subsequent submission. However, for purposes of deeming complete, I am okay with waiving them at this time.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Sal, you good with everything?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to grant the waivers.
Mr. Friedman with a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Mercer for the second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Beto?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic?
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes.
Councilman Ravel?
Yes.
Mr. Wetko?
Yes.
Ms. Core?
Yes.
Chairman Huzzer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the next submission waiver is case number SD 3032, Bayford Bridge Investments LLC for a minor subdivision with design waiver relief. Sal again?
Yes, it's my son's application, but since I'm here...
Gotcha.
And just for the record, we have filed the planning board application to the county, Laura, so we'll provide proof of that.
Okay.
Sal knows me pretty well. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, similarly, we have a review letter dated July 23rd, 2026. As with the prior application, this is also a minor subdivision. My one issue was going to be the county application, so that has been filed. Similar to the last one, items D through H, I recommend be provided on a subsequent submission as it relates to the balance, as well as an outbound survey should be provided, or at least what the plat is based on. But for purposes of deeming the application complete, I take no exception to the granting of these waivers.
All good, Sal?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. McNicholas, a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Carbonic?
Mr. Beto?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic?
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes.
Councilman Ravel?
Yes.
Mr. Wetko?
Yes.
Ms. Core?
Yes.
Chairman Huzzer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sal. Okay, is anybody from New Jersey Natural Gas here? Okay. Would you be ready to give an application, your presentation, second on the agenda? Yes. Okay. So we're going to move New Jersey Natural Gas to the number 2 spot. So batting lead off would be JNS Flex, and then it would be New Jersey Natural Gas, followed by Route 9 Howell LLC, Maple Manor. So first application this evening, case number SP 1138, JNS Flex, for preliminary and final major site plan with ancillary variance and design waiver relief. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board. My name is Gregory Vell of Collinsville Casello. As the board recalls, I the pleasure this evening to represent JNS Flex Center LLC. We were before the board in June of this year. We provided almost all our testimony regarding the application, which was for 3 roughly 15,000 square foot contractor business. Towards the end of the hearing, we had some comments with your planner regarding the existing building that was in the front right corner of the property. As you can see on the plans in front of you, that it's no longer there. We had an existing building there that, as a result of it staying there, required buffer variances, front yard setback, side yard setback. After talking to your planner, we just deemed it just be cleaner, we removed it. So essentially, it removed all the variances associated with the application, except for one very weird variance that we're going to discuss today. I had this conversation with Jennifer Beam today. We do require a buffer variance under your buffer ordinance. The buffer ordinance says for non-residential development, if you are abutting a residential use, a residential zone, or an active farm, you have to provide a 50-foot buffer. As you can see from the screen, adjacent to us is a mobile park, residential use. We're providing the buffer. That's not an issue. Jennifer advised that the farm that's across the street, which is in a commercial zone, it's not a residential use, it's not a residential zone, and I'm not even sure it's an active farm anymore. But Jennifer advised that since our drainage system is in the front of our property, we're required to put a 50-foot buffer for the property across the street that is a defunct farm. Now, what's across, one, where Route 33 is between us and the property, which is like 60 feet. Our engineer is going to testify that the property is like a flag lot. You see the drive aisle? That's the flagpole. That's about 500 feet. So our development is probably about 565 feet from this defunct farm. And Jen advised that we need a bulk variance because we're not putting a 50-foot buffer from that. Does it make much sense? I don't know, but we're going to ask for the variance because it's just to be in abundance of caution and to agree with your planner, we're just going to ask for that variance. And that's the only variance relief we have regarding the application. I have our engineer and planner who testified regarding all the other waivers and other testimony. I'm going to have him testify just to the change and the variance relief that I just talked about. With respect to your planner and engineer's report, we've already agreed at the last meeting, we're going to comply with all those conditions contained here. We do have our architect here, if you have any questions on the architecture. However, we're not requesting any waivers for any architectural designs or anything else.
Greg,
So,
what, the farm?
yeah, so
Is it like the south,
no,
southwest?
oh, we just went across the street.
Like
We're the, yeah, that right there.
And that, where's the property boundary for that? Right on?
Mr. Chair, how about I have my engineer testify,
Yeah,
and he'll
I'm
jump
just
right in on that.
Trying to
So,
visualize this.
Mr. Wild, you previously been sworn in this case, you're still on the road, correct?
Yes, sir.
There you go, Mr. Chairman.
So the way this property sort of is aligned is there's a property line here that comes down and sort of parallels.
So it's that little thing that touches 33?
Correct.
Gotcha.
It is essentially this driveway, which is the flag portion.
Okay.
The driveway is about 525 feet from the road. Route 33 has a 66-foot wide right-of-way. So if you were to measure from the existing building to our proposed property, you're probably approaching 600 feet away. So this is a technical variance in that, I guess by the strict interpretation of the ordinance, we do require this variance, but obviously from an impact standpoint, there's absolutely no impact to the public, the master plan, or the zoning ordinance with the variance that we're seeking.
Yep.
And there's going to be more impact on that property from Route 33 than our property, right?
Absolutely. So just for very quick, the state did traffic counts along Route 33 in 2024. 26,000 cars are in one day going up and down 33. I don't believe that our flex contractor warehousing will impact the farm. And for what it's worth, I'm not sure how much of a farm or nursery it still is. I visited the property myself to just sort of get an understanding of the area. And there's a few trees that are out front that appear for sale, but normally the trees don't grow through the roof of a greenhouse. So while it may meet the definition of active farmland or an active nursery, it really is an insignificant variance that we're seeking this evening.
Gotcha.
And I told Mrs. Beam today that we're going to ask for it, and I know she's not here, but I want to make that representation. I told her I was going to ask for it, and that's why we're asking for it.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Wilder, you heard my prior comments regarding the existing building that got removed. Could you just quickly go over that and how it revised your plan?
Sure. So the existing building was in this area here. Because of the variances that created when we eliminated that, what we did is we just incorporated new landscaping into that area. So the only real change from what was presented to the board back in June to tonight is that building has been eliminated with some walkways, and we've introduced some additional plantings.
And Mr. Wilder, Ms. Beam has some comments regarding our conditional use requirements. Is it fair to say that all those conditional use requirements regarding amount of space inside can be used for office, warehouse, you're going to comply with all the conditions in the conditional use requirement zone, so we don't need a conditional use variance, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, we agreed to Laura's, all her technical comments. We went all over the waivers at the last meeting. We've revised the plan to eliminate the 2 of the 3 variances. So We have nothing further unless the board has any questions. I do have the architect. If you would like to have the architect quickly come up and show what the building's going to look like, if you want that, he is here, but that's up to you guys.
Professionals, any comments, questions?
So no, Mr. Chairman, with the agreement to comply with the report, I take no exception. The demolition of that house was jurisdictional in nature because it was a trade contractor and that needed to be provided. So with the elimination of that, this is a completely permitted use. As was indicated, we can call it one technical variance. I did have the opportunity to also speak to Jen today to confirm that she took no exception to it, and she thought in the era of being conservative, the relief should be, in fact, be sought. But with that, I have nothing further at this time.
Sherry, you good?
Yeah, my last couple of minor comments are in the report, so they
Okay.
agree to it, that's fine.
Okay.
So just for reference, I'm going to show the architectural rendering of the building. And as was indicated, there's no relief being sought as it relates to, I guess the color is probably the best, as it relates to the building.
Yeah, there was one comment in the planner's report regarding is a flat roof. It is not a flat roof to violate the ordinance. I do have my architect here. He can easily testify that it's not a flat roof, correct? Dick?
Gabled roof.
It's not a flat roof, so we don't request any waivers.
Do you have any questions, Dale? No. Okay, any questions from the board? All right. Greg, any closing, or that was the closing?
Other than open it to the public,
Yep.
Chair, I don't need to say anything
Okay,
else.
at this time, I'll open it to the public for any questions, comments on this application. Seeing none, close the public portion. Okay, at this time, based upon everything we heard, I will entertain a motion for this application.
Make a motion to approve?
Mr. Wetko with a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Beto with the second. Roll call, Lisa, please.
Mr. Beto?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic?
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes.
Councilman Rebel?
Yes.
Mr. Wetko?
Yes.
Ms. Core?
Yes.
Chairman Heiser?
Yes.
Motion carries, application is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board.
Greg, thank you.
Professionals for helping us out, and we worked hard to get as clean an application we could, other than that really weird variance.
Greatly appreciated. Have a good rest of your summer.
You too.
See you
Take care.
soon.
Hopefully you guys get home early before the storm.
Good night, Greg.
Okay, we're going to move New Jersey Natural Gas to the 2 spot. So case number SP 993A-2, New Jersey Natural Gas Company. This is for amended preliminary and final major site plan with design waiver relief.
Hi, good evening, board members. My name is Lisa John Bosco with the law firm of Kaysa, Shahinian, and Jan Tomasi on behalf of the applicant.
Good evening.
Good evening. The application that's before you this evening is seeking preliminary and final site plan approval related to a liquefied natural gas facility that's been in operation and owned by New Jersey Natural Gas, a public utility, for the past 50 years. There's been several applications that have been before this board, most recently in 2021. What the applicant is seeking to do this evening is approval to essentially demolish an existing heater building and construct a new heater building to modernize and make their equipment more efficient. We have one expert that we intend to call this evening, Frank Little, who's our civil engineer.
Great.
Who's swearing me in?
You could sit down. Oh, not to be sworn in.
Not to be
Okay,
sworn in.
do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your name for the record, spell your last.
Frank J. Little, Jr., that's L-I-T-T-L-E, licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey and certified municipal engineer. Been here before this board several years ago with the same project for the solar facility. You need any more information
We
on my
will accept your
qualifications?
credentials, Frank.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you can even move those chairs around on that other table if you want to sit down.
I'm comfortable
There-
standing if you...
Okay,
Whatever.
because there's mics on the tables, that's so you know. Whatever works.
Frank, so you prepared the civil documents that were submitted in advance of tonight's meeting?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what's on the screen right now, it looks like an aerial exhibit. Can you identify the exhibit? And I think this was pre-marked by the board as Exhibit A19. If you can discuss the site location and surrounding area.
Yeah, so basically, you you're looking at the site north of the site on the top is Victory Lane. To the right is Lakewood Farmingdale Road. The entrance to the facility is off Lakewood Farmingdale Road. You can see the two large tanks. There's a small building roughly in the middle of the property. That's the current heater building that's being replaced with the new facility. This is relatively simple, I believe, because we're just really upgrading existing equipment. We're taking outdated equipment from the one building. We're constructing a new building, roughly 5,750 square feet. We're replacing other equipment on the facility that's somewhat outdated. And if it wasn't for the size of the building, we probably would have received an administrative approval for this. So there were certain questions about, number of employees and so forth. Nothing's changing at the facility. Waste management's not changing. Number of employees, hours of operation, drainage, we're well under the requirement to provide additional stormwater. We do have stormwater facilities on site, but pretty much we're under the square footage necessary to create this as a major development. So the newer stormwater regulations really don't apply. I guess what you're looking at is several plan sheets of my set. That's an overall view. If you scroll up a little bit further, the other way, I'm sorry. I'm not sure who's running this. There's a site, that's the plan right there. That's the new heater building. We have some overhead pipe racks that go to the back part of the area, and we're replacing additional pumps and facilities adjacent to the tanks on the upper left side, including some additional spill containment in the event there's any spillage. It'll be contained based on all the current regulations to take care of the facility.
So, Mr. Chairman, the reason I put this exhibit up was so that the board kind of had context. When you were looking at the aerial, right, you see the area of the current operation, and you see that the improvements that they're doing are essentially within that same area. And it's really the construction of this building here. That's really the nature of the application.
Correct.
It's 5,750 square feet. The one thing I would note, that we noted, there's no variances associated with this application. There are a couple of design waivers, one of which being that the internal drive aisles through the site, they narrow as far as, or as narrow as 12 feet wide. But again, that's not being changed as a result of this application. Similarly, there's no sidewalk provided along the site frontage, which you can see, more readily from the aerial. And given the nature of this, certainly I don't think it's an area where we would want sidewalks, so I do think a contribution is more appropriate in this case. And we have a couple of technical comments, again, pretty minor. I would ask Mr. Little if he agrees to comply with those.
Yes, I think some of it had to do with putting bollards around the doors, and there were some other incidental items that you had in your review letter. We will comply with those.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, essentially, that's really the application. So I don't want to make it more complex than it needs to be, but certainly deferring to counsel and her witness, I think it's probably appropriate maybe for the board to ask any questions you may have, but it is a relatively minor improvement.
Can I ask one question? The waiver on the sidewalk, there's no sidewalk anywhere in the area. It's pretty rural. You can see from the aerial, we're completely surrounded by forest.
So I'm going to cut you off only in that it's an ordinance requirement that you make the contribution. If you're seeking to not make the contribution, that's an act of counsel. That's not something that this board can waive.
Thank you for the clarification, so I'm not going to continue to talk about it.
Frank, is the building doing the same exact operations?
Yes, yeah, it has the same heaters in it. It's just updated, state-of-the-art equipment. It's a little bigger building. The other building's on the right, just lower right there, that exists now, so.
And it's just, I'm assuming, preventative measure, spill containment areas, trenches, all that kind of stuff? Okay, gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I did want to note, I know Mr. Little agreed, as I indicated, it's an act of council. This applicant, New Jersey Natural Gas, has been before us before, and they thought they may have already made that contribution to the sidewalk fund. So if in fact that occurred,
gotcha.
obviously that would negate the need for a contribution. And I should note that.
Yeah.
That, you know, it may not be that council would need to waive it if in fact this contribution was already made.
We'd have to look into that.
Yeah, we haven't found documentation of that yet, so we will agree to the condition except if we find documentation to the contrary.
Got it. Yeah. Listen, I don't want anybody walking by this facility, quite honestly, but, any questions from board members?
Will the construction be staged such that the new heater will be completed and hooked up to the existing system prior to the demolition of the existing heater? So
Yeah, I
there's no
believe-
lapse in functionality
I don't
of
think
the
there's a
system?
lapse in function. This building has to get up as soon as possible so we can get the heaters and everything in before the winter.
Yep.
So we
Okay.
can utilize the facility. So it's going to really move fast once we get past your, hopefully, approval.
Okay, got it. Anything else? Professionals, any other? No? Okay.
I have nothing further, Mr.
At
Chairman.
this time, I'll open it to the public for any questions, comments. Seeing none. Counselor, any closing?
No, we just ask that you look favorably upon the application, and thank you for your
Great,
time.
thank you. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. McNicholas with the motion to approve, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Mercer for the second. Lisa, roll call, please.
Mr. Beto?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Carbonic?
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes.
Councilman Revelle?
Yes.
Mr. Wecko?
Yes.
Ms. Corr?
Yes.
Chairman Huzzer?
Yes.
Motion carries, application is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Okay. Save the best for last. Sal, come on up. Last, for this evening, application, case number SP 1150, Route 9 Howell LLC, Maple Manor. This is for preliminary and final major subdivision with a design waiver relief. Bless you.
Is that the rate?
Good day to be indoors.
Yeah, Eileen said.
They just canceled.
Floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. The subject property is in the ML16 zone, which was the moderate and low-income zone that was recently adopted as part of the township's affordable housing obligation. It's a mixed-use zone, and we conform with all those zone standards associated with it. It's 152 units, with 20 of them being affordable, and a commercial retail component as well.
You got 20 affordable or 30 affordable?
30,
30, okay.
20% of the 152.
Gotcha.
The roads and the basins and all the amenities will be owned and maintained by the HOA, so there's no township obligation to deal with any of those. We have recent reports from Laura and Jennifer. We did have a TRC. The reports were much longer. We made a resubmission to address as many comments as we could. We're prepared to address all the comments in the professional reports. We do have 3 witnesses, though. We have our civil engineer, we have an architect, and then we have our traffic expert. We are on the state highway, and there is a jug handle there, so we want to update you on the aspects, the DOT aspects of the application when the traffic expert comes up. And Jay Patel is our first witness.
Do you affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your name for the record, spell your last.
Jayesh Patel, Jayesh Patel. I'm with the Crest Engineering, licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey.
How long have you been a licensed engineer?
Since 1992.
Long enough.
We'll accept your credentials.
Okay. All right, Jay, and your office, and under your supervision, prepared the plans that were submitted in support of the application, is that correct?
That is correct.
In fact, and you also prepared the concept plans that were prepared in order to design this project and create the ordinance that was adopted by the mayor and council, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's just first orient the board. The first exhibit up is the aerial. Would you orient the board as to where it's located and what's currently located on the property?
All right, so what you're seeing with the yellow outline is the site. It's on the, site is on the westerly side of Route 9, and currently the site has 2 lots. The total site acreage is 20.23 acres. Lot number 20 and 21, and that's in a block 71. The site is currently under HD1 Highway Development Zone. So is the most of the north, east, and the south properties. On the west side, the adjacent properties in ARE2 zone. The site has been recently been changed with the overlay zoning. It's mixed use overlay zone 16, ML16, and currently the site is wooded and no other improvements there.
All right, so as I indicated, we have 152 units, correct?
We have 152 units,
30 affordable.
30 affordable.
Can you describe for the board where the affordables are going to be located in relation to the project? And Laura has the plan up on the screen.
Right, so there are 2 buildings, building A and B, which is in the middle of the site, and those 2 buildings will have the 36 total apartments, and 30 of those units will be in these 2 buildings.
And where is the retail and commercial component?
The retail and commercial component is in a building B, which is on the right side of those 2 buildings, and the one building which is closer to Route 9, which is further down on the map, on the right side of the jet handle.
All right. How will stormwater management operate?
The stormwater has been designed with several infiltration basin with the sand bottom. The one basin which we have identified as basin A is on the top left corner, which is the southern corner of the property. There are 2 additional bigger sand bottom infiltration basins. One is right above on the right side above that blue color existing pond. That's basin B, and the basin C, which is the long, narrow, yellow colored basin, which is next to the on the south side of the jet handle. There are other stormwater basins are located. One is on the other side of the driveway of the basin C, which is right on the bottom of the last townhouse building unit. There are a couple of underground detention basins provided with the perma-void storm storage system. One is in that larger paved area, which is on the south side of that blue pond area. And then one is next to the, on 2 sides of the building C, which is closer to the Route 9.
And are we providing statutorily compliant electric vehicle parking spaces?
Correct. We are providing for these 3 buildings, building A, B, and C, the required EV spaces.
Can you describe for the board the amenities that will be associated with the residential component of the project?
Yeah, the other than the required utilities, we have the recreational area which is located on the middle of these two rows of the townhouse units, which is going across the plan, that has a pickleball, tennis court, basketball court, as well as the kids' play area.
And just for the record, I think Laura may have asked it, but all of the residential units, including the affordable units, will have access to the amenities. It's not limited to just the townhomes, so it's all residential. Refuse containers, locations, can you just describe how many there are, where they are, and are they adequate
Yeah.
for the site?
There are 7 refuge collection locations. One each provided for the 3 commercial buildings. There are 4 other refuge collections are provided. One is on towards the left corner near the basin. One is right on the top of the recreational area. One is in the right side of the road we have identified as Road C, and one is in the on the other side of the recreation area. So
And
there are like,
they'll all be private pickup, and they'll be controlled by the association
that is,
in terms of frequency, right?
yeah.
And then buffering, can you describe for the board how the property is, the perimeter is buffered?
Yeah, so there are existing vegetation on, since the entire site is wooded, the 50-feet buffer, which is on the top, along the top property line, is going to be kept as a buffer with the existing vegetation. Wherever the basin and other areas that's going to be disturbed within vicinity will be provided with the additional landscaping. On the right side as well as left side of the property, behind the townhouse units, additional landscaping is provided that there could be the disturbance and as well as the gaps in the vegetation.
The freestanding signage, what is proposed and where is that located?
The one is along the Route 9 near the jug handle area, and that is going to be showing the Maple Manor project identification so that the townhouse units visitors can come to the site without any problem. The other monument sign is going to be in the middle Boulevard Road, which is the Road A we have identified on our plans. That's where it's going to be a site identification sign for the 3 commercial buildings.
And,
I mean, the 2 commercial buildings.
and speaking of that road, that center spine road,
Right.
how wide is that?
That is a Boulevard Road. It has a divider, but as it goes further, it's starting to wide.
Okay. Public water and sewer?
Public water and sewer, we also have shown on our utilities plan, gas and electric.
And the applicant has already obtained a letter, an LOI from the DEP?
Yes, it has, applicant has received the LOI for the wetlands, which is the pond, and there is a ditch that discharges from the pond. There is no buffer, so we won't need any further wetlands permit.
And are we proposing sidewalks on Route 9?
Yes, we are providing connecting sidewalks from Route 9 to the site.
In Jennifer's letter, she identified a potential design waiver for bollards, but we've provided bollards now?
But we have, in the recently submitted plans, we have provided required bollards.
So there's no design waiver
There is no
relief?
design waiver.
Okay, and then in Laura's report, there's a few comments that she wanted us to discuss. Some of them I'll answer, but some I may defer to you on. There'll be a lot, we will consolidate the 2 lots so that it will be 1 lot initially before
Correct.
perfection,
Not
correct?
consolidation.
All of the site work will be done at one time. There won't be phased site improvements. Construction of homes will be phased, obviously, but the site work will all be done. Scott Kennel will discuss the NJDOT. I already indicated that everything will be owned and managed privately by an HOA. The applicant hasn't decided whether they have to, well, first of all, there are spots that are identified for the commercial use, correct?
Correct.
Can you point those out to the board?
For the commercial use, the parking spaces will be between these two buildings, and some of this will be on the right side, on the left side of the building B.
Okay, that will service the commercial buildings.
Correct.
And then what about the other, the
The rest
affordable
is,
building?
Yes. So the building A, which is the left side of the three buildings, has its own parking lot, which has 50 parking spaces. There are on the, I would say, the west side of that building B, there's some of the parking spaces are shown will be for the residential units.
And then you've had an opportunity to review the reports from both Laura and Jennifer, and you're okay to address all their technical comments as a condition of approval?
Yes, we will.
That's all the engineering we have.
Sal, and Jay, the commercial buildings, are they for the residents themselves, or are they like public
They're
commercial?
public, there'll be regular
They're public.
rentals to, yes.
They will be.
Interesting, okay.
And everything's going to be condoed, so they'll be separately owned, or potentially, or they could be sold, or they may be owned by the developer at some, they're not sure how they'll handle that.
Okay.
But there will be either cross-access and parking easements and/or a condo association, so it'll all be addressed, so we'll operate as one unified site.
Okay. Any questions?
Will this be gated, like, will it be a entrance,
I don't think so.
I don't,
being with the commercial, it's gonna be open 24 hours a day access throughout the
Yes.
property?
It's
yes,
I have many questions.
yeah.
So one of them would be, so there's going to be residential parking for townhouses, residential parking for, you just said it's not apartments, but it's going to be condos. And then it's gonna be commercial.
It will be apartment.
There'll be apartments. When I say condos, I mean, that's how we'll separate the ownership potentially of the buildings, not that those apartments will be condos.
So essentially, they would be apartment units, but they'll set up condos for the lots or the buildings
Like
themselves.
C001, C002?
So they're usually like a tax identifier?
Yeah, like
Gotcha.
C001,
So I think
C002.
automatically, like condo you can buy, apartment you can
No,
rent.
no, no.
Yes, no.
So how is that going to be regulated? So if those retail, they close, let's say at 7, can no one not park there? Can it be parked there? How are the residents
They'll
going to be
open.
assigned?
All the spaces will be open to the residents off hours.
So there's not going to be any assigning, because according to the ML zone, you're supposed to have 2 spaces per dwelling.
We do.
So you have, it's more than adequate with the commercial.
We will have at least one assigned parking per unit. The other can be flexible,
So it's going to be numbered on the pavement, saying like, this is where you can park and everything
or
else.
some kind of signing.
Yes.
Okay, and then when it comes to the monument signs, you said there's going to be 2. So the one closest to Route 9 is just going to say the name Maplewood, but then when you drive further in, it's going to be a larger monument sign that's going to say Building A, Building C, and then similar to go to Medical Corporate Park.
I don't know if it's larger, it's just,
Is that the tenants?
yeah, but the size is the
Oh,
size.
yeah, there's, the size of the sign is 11.5 by 4 feet, I believe. So it's not
11.5 inches?
Feet.
Feet?
11.5 feet tall by 4 feet wide. The Maple Manor sign at the Route 9 is going to be 10 feet wide by 5 feet high, so it's like a regular monument sign. The other one will be directory sign.
That's it?
Yep.
You said you had a lot.
Well, that was like a bunch of questions in one, but then I may have more questions along the way.
Your sign to this thing is 11 feet high?
Yes,
In the center.
that's the directory sign when you come to the entrance through the main
But
boulevard
it's not an
door.
11 feet high sign, right? It's 11,
More like a pylon.
okay, gotcha. All right.
It's just from the top to the bottom, but how big's the sign area itself?
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing, an 11-foot
so
sign.
the sign area is going to be 9.5 by 4 feet.
Yeah, gotcha, okay.
The bottom 2 feet will be just a base.
And the only, this is, Scotty, I can't wait for you to get up here. The only entrance to this is off the jug handle.
Correct.
So, I had a comment around the entrance too. Is there any way we could carry this grass island all the way back instead of just having striping?
So I think on the, I think, and Councilman Rebel, I don't want to cut you off, I think we should wait for the traffic witness.
He's met with the DOT, so
Yeah,
we know-
I just have, I want to hear Scott's, you did a great job. I don't have any further questions engineering-wise. Does anybody, Laura, do you have any?
I don't, I mean, I want to hear the traffic testimony
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, anybody else, questions
Yeah,
engineering-wise?
I had about the school buses entrance, but
Yeah, we'll
that's
wait
what,
for,
yes,
I think
we'll
Scott's
wait.
going to be the hot one tonight.
Okay.
So,
We're gonna call the architect up briefly, and then
Absolutely.
Scott will finish, we'll
Thanks,
wrap
Jay.
up.
Thank you.
We've worked with Jennifer a few times now to come up with the architectural designs. She does have one more comment in her report that we'll address. They can see this. They can see it. No. And if you want physical ones, we hand them to you, but otherwise you'll work.
Do you affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and the truth, nothing but the truth? State your name for the record.
Melissa Robb, R.U.
And you're a licensed architect of the state of New Jersey?
I am.
And you've testified before boards in this area before?
I have.
Thank you. We'll wait till the chairman accepts your credentials.
Would you like me to go out the distribution
Oh,
papers?
sure.
Only if you want
It's the
them.
same that's on the screen.
It's the same as on the screen.
I know, but
Need to get in this.
You got it?
Sal, can I ask while we're doing this, just a quick question? And Jay, you might have to pop back up. So, I've seen it both ways. You're saying that the affordable is going to be in one building or two buildings, rather than, I don't know, rather than not kind of dispersed throughout the community. I guess my concern is, people are going to know, right? They're going to know that that's the affordable kind of stigmaed section of this property. Have you thought or discussed about kind of spreading them out throughout so it's an unknown, affordable kind of?
Malky could probably describe it. So first describe, there's one affordable townhome, correct?
That's correct.
And then in the apartments, if you will, there's 36?
That's correct.
And how many are affordable and how many are market?
30 are affordable and 6 are market rate.
So, yeah, that's...
Could you repeat those numbers?
I can't really hear you.
I know, the rain is killing us right here.
Try
Want me
to
to stand up?
I don't know if that helps.
Out of 36, how many were?
Closer.
6 are market rate. 6 out of the 36 are market
Venus.
rate, and
So
30 are
I can
affordable.
shout for her. Yeah, what I heard is out of the townhome portion, there's one
One, that's right.
affordable townhome.
That's right.
And then of the 36 apartments, 30 are affordable, 6 are market rate.
And Mr. Chairman, I could
So
say,
sen-
just from an affordable housing regulatory standpoint, like round 3, this was a round 3 project in the township's plan. There were the dispersion of the market and affordable were not generally required in round 3. Round 4, they are. The state changed, and going back, they used to be before round 3, and
Gotcha.
a lot of the round 3 projects have these buildings that are predominantly affordable. I'm not saying that's not a consideration the board and the applicant should think about. I'm just saying it's not illegal because it was a round 3 project.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, outside of the legal mumbo jumbo, and I know that plays a huge role in it, no disrespect to the attorneys in the room, but it does present a stigma in these properties, that you're the affordable, right? The people in this building are the affordable, and we're not.
So, Mr. Chairman, though, in looking at this by way of layout, so this is an apartment building, and this houses an apartment, so this is 20 apartments, and this is 16. So again, the apartments are definitely dispersed. There's 36 total apartments, 30 are affordable, 6 are market. And then of all the townhome units, one of them is the affordable.
And no one's, from the apartment point of view, everyone's going to see that there's 36 apartments there. They're not going to know which are affordable and which aren't, because 6 of them are market. But
Essentially, it's like 85% of such
yeah, but
low income.
there are 36 apartments, whether they're affordable or not, there's 36 apartments that, so I don't know if there'd be a stigma attached to that. And then the one affordable townhouse unit, you can't distinguish, right?
Absolutely, it's identical to the rest. And all the amenities are open to all the residents as well, so.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to go through quickly the
Sure.
architectural design.
Yeah, absolutely. Were my credentials accepted?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we indicated she's a licensed architect and
You've been here before. I'll accept your credentials.
Sure. A little tight. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Before we begin, I'll just roadmap a little bit of my testimony. So there are 4 primary building types on the site. There are the townhomes, and then again, buildings A, B, and C of the commercial component. So we'll begin with the townhomes. That is the second, third, and fourth page of the packet. Are the renderings of the fronts of each of the 4, 6, and 8 unit townhomes. Each of the buildings are 2.5 stories plus a basement. The 2 end units of each cluster are 24 feet wide and 49 feet deep, while the center units are 22 feet wide and 49 feet deep. The interior layouts are generally identical to one another, just mirrored depending on where in the building. And the buildings are approximately 30 feet 8 inches from grade to the midpoint of the gable roof. The first floor is a combined living room.
30 feet.
Sorry, 30 feet 8 inches.
Right.
Yes, thanks. The first floor contains a combined living and dining room area, a kitchen, family room, and a powder room and mudroom. The second floor is the primary bedroom suite, 3 additional bedrooms, a shared hallway bathroom, and laundry area. At the attic level, we're proposing a sitting area, bathroom, and loft. And the optional finished basement layout includes a playroom at the front and a study at the rear, along with ancillary storage and bathroom. Overall, the floor plan is an efficient and functional layout that is well suited for modern family life. At the elevations, as you can see in the rendering, the design of the development is intended to create a cohesive character throughout the various building types. So each of the 4, 6, and 8 unit buildings share consistent architectural language and material palette, utilizing a combination of horizontal and vertical siding, with contrasting darker accent colors, and an asphalt shingle roof. Each townhouse has an individual clearly defined entrance with a covered front porch, steps and railing, and the varied roof gable elements, add rhythm and visual interest across the buildings. Next, we'll move on to building.
If I could,
Sure.
before we move on,
Go ahead.
are any of these townhomes ADA adaptable or accessible? Just because we're seeing the steps.
Sure, that's a great question. So, they are, sorry, I'm just grabbing my notes on that. So they're actually exempt from ADA requirements per ANSI. They're not required to be ADA. So right as of now, they're not ADA compliant.
Okay.
Is the basement, is there only entrance to the basement from within the?
No, there's an entrance from interior and exterior steps at the front of the building, at the front of each home, an exterior entrance.
Okay.
want to move on to the commercial buildings?
Yeah, sure, thank
Or the
you.
apartments?
Oh, wait, can you go up one, go to the
Sorry?
first?
Which building am I going to?
A, yeah, right here, the first one, yeah. Oh, thank
want
you.
you to go
Can you
back,
go,
Laura.
No,
right there,
this
so you're
is the
saying
next sheet, yeah.
the stairs going down to the basement are
Yeah.
in the front and in the rear? So
Sure,
is it
no.
right?
So, does this work? Hold on. There we go. So actually, you can't see them, but right there, there's a little wall, and right there is the top riser that then leads you down over here. So here's a basement entrance, there's a basement entrance. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
You can see right there, yeah, right there, you see that railing kind of ends?
Okay.
Because right over here, there's stairs down that go to the basement along the front of the building.
And will there be any, I know you don't show it here, but would there be gates, or would there be just how it is right now?
I think the homeowner themselves could install a gate. We're not proposing a gate at this time, but we're open to that, you know.
But aren't you guys going to also have an HOA when they push that security issue when it comes to it? So wouldn't it be not a resident can make that decision, but the HOA can enforce it?
We're amenable to adding gates at the top of the stairwell.
But I think you'd be the first one in Howell as a townhouse having it in the front and also having it from the rear.
So
But
there-
then that
sorry.
also brings another ordinance in Howell that you're not supposed to have two entrances. I believe that when you came here the first time, there was a door that was visible from the street up to having two doors.
Oh,
So
you
that
remember
brings
that
up,
application?
yes.
So just, let's take one thing at a time. There is no rear access from the outside. It's interior to the home, right? So once you walk through the front door, you can go down the stairs or at the front. There's nothing in the back that leads
Gotcha.
you to the basement. And again, the second front door or the second access is not visible from the street in this iteration, so.
I guess my question is, are you allowed to have two front doors to a unit?
So we saw this as a convenience, you know, for the residents. We imagine that kids will be playing in the basement, want to come outside. It's also an opportunity for storage, being that they're townhomes. You can kind of like roll your bike down there and store it. You don't have a garage in a townhome. So it was more convenience. It's something that, you know, our client really felt strongly about, that you would be able to access that basement from the outside.
But there's no ordinance restriction to that.
That's correct.
Are we sure about that, Laura?
Yeah, so I think just from a
I could have
Layout
sworn we had
perspective.
something in this township about two doors.
I can double check that
the front of a-
while we sit, but I just don't see why we need it, and I don't like the fact that it's open. So my recommendation or my ask would be, can the doors just be eliminated? And that there be no steps from the front down?
You wanna?
We'd have to check with the client.
Yeah.
Before we get to traffic, I can make a quick call.
Okay.
None of them will have a third floor, correct? I don't know if that
They
window
have
is a
lofts.
fake.
2.5
That's the loft,
story, yeah,
okay.
loft.
Are the basements going to be finished, heated, plumbed, and everything, and included in the square footage? of
That's
the
an
whole-
option.
That's an option.
Yeah, so it'll be prepped, meaning the base model has a mechanical room down there, but the actual finishing of the space is an option, it's like an add-on option, that's correct.
So I will say, I just looked very quickly, but what we call like a multi-generational home, and I can make sure that this meets that criteria, does preclude two front doors.
Okay.
And I think it lends itself to, and I know it's a single family, but it almost lends itself to the potential. So I know Mr. Alfieri said he'll speak with his client. My recommendation would be that it be eliminated.
Agreed.
And then we'll discuss the three other buildings, and then once we finish with this witness, I'll make a quick call, and then we can bring traffic up, if okay.
That sounds good, so.
Okay.
All right, so this building,
This is Building A that we see in front of us. It's a three-story mixed-use building, mixed-use building. It's mostly residential. Half of the first floor is the community center, the ground floor. The building is approximately 140 feet wide and 65 feet deep, and approximately 38 feet 6 inches in height from average grade to top of roof. The community center, like we discussed, would be available to all the residents of the development, including, both the townhomes and the apartments. The community center is approximately, includes a 1,879 square foot multi-purpose room and a 560 square foot recreation room, along with ancillary lobby, restrooms, coat room, and a small kitchenette. There's also a small mikvah component at the northeast corner of the building, providing an additional amenity for the residents.
Which building letter is this?
A.
Okay.
The remainder of the building consists of the 20 residential units distributed over the remaining 2.5 stories. And the unit mix consists of 3 one-bedroom units, 13 two-bedroom units, and 4 three-bedroom units. The exterior architectural design was developed to complement the character and material palette of the townhomes while adapting it to a multifamily use. The building features a light-colored masonry veneer at the base with vertical siding elements above and darker vertical elements that provide articulation and help break up, the facade. We also are proposing balconies and railings to add depth and visual interest. And because the building contains multiple uses and access points, we're proposing identifying signs at each of the various entrances along the base. And that includes signage at the residential entrances and exits, as well as the community center entrances to assist with wayfinding. So I know that was brought up in the review letter about the multiple signs that are proposed, but we feel that, again, for wayfinding and ease of access throughout the building, it is important to have a sign at each door.
And they are reflected on that elevation?
That's correct.
So they can see what they want.
Yeah, they're kind of small, but, near each door would say where you're going. Any questions on Building A before we move to Building B?
I know that you made a solution in having signage that is pretty minor, but if you're driving around and let's say if I have a friend that lives in that apartment building, I would not know where the entrance to the community center is versus the entrance to the residence. That when I'm looking at the renderings, it looks like just to me a square box.
Minor.
There is no hierarchy of where the community center is. There's no hierarchy of where the apartments will be, even if it's a little bit different. I know you probably worked with Jennifer as she talks about like, the elevations and things of that nature, but to me, this does not complement the townhouses whatsoever. I feel like this was a secondary thought, that when it comes to the balconies, and especially where they're being oriented towards the townhouses versus some are going to be going towards the forest or even to Route 9, that I feel like there's not enough presence for it to look cohesive as together as a whole. So I'm seeing it from the aesthetics, but I'm also seeing it from how the functionality of how the floor plan's being interpreted, because there is a lot of entrances. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entrances going to the community center. One in particular which I do not know about Judaism as much, but then there is the mikhav that is separate completely. Why is I not going into the recreational space? What is the structure between the apartments versus the community center? What is the fire rating? Is it soundproof? That so that's a little bit more for like you to kind of explain to me a little bit more, just of not being in that religion.
Absolutely. Thank you for all those questions. Let's take one at a time. So, your point about the hierarchy of the signage is well taken, and I think that perhaps maybe we would amend our signage packet somewhat to have larger letters at the community center entrance and at the residential entrance. The other signs are, at stairwells and things like that, I think could remain smaller, so that's a great point. Perhaps we would also add a address sign to the building itself, because I'm sure that there'll be a particular address for this building. So all those are well taken, and I think that's something that we might want to revisit. In terms of the floor plan and the different entrances into the community center. So really, the main in and out point would be through the lobby or through the vestibule, whether you're using the multipurpose room or the recreation room, because there could be simultaneous uses in that space. The one in the back of the building at the bottom of the multipurpose room is more of an emergency exit, so I wouldn't even consider that an entrance. Someone coming to use the mikvah area wouldn't necessarily be wanting to use the multipurpose room at the same time, so interior access to each of the uses is not something that's needed. They're used at different times of the day and week, so again, there was no need to connect the two on interior.
So that room going to the mikvah, that's going to be locked, and only the person that's running the community center will open it.
That's a great question. In terms of operations, yeah, I mean, I guess the HOA would need to have, an employee who locks and unlocks that space, yes. It wouldn't be open to the public all the time.
And in your floor plans for the apartments, are you aware that in front of the windows that you have, there's a stove? And there's ever a means of a fire, like how would you escape besides going through your main entrance of your apartment?
Sure, so there's a couple of things. I would say that the kitchen layouts are, representational and definitely diagrammatic. They're not our final kitchen layouts. But each of the bedrooms are also equipped with an emergency egress window as well.
And for the storage and lobby for the mailroom, there's 3 different functions for this space going for the apartment. I'm just kind of reminiscing of other apartments that have been approved from this board and from other boards in New Jersey, that I want to understand how the community center has a actual designated lobby versus having the 3 apartments, well, one has a retail, but the other apartment building.
So you're asking if the left-hand side of the building, like how that space will be allocated,
The multifunctional room that is the mail room,
Sure.
storage.
So, again, this is kind of like our first iteration of the floor plan, and I would say, we're going to get more into the detail of how that space will be allocated. It was more like, we know that we have to allocate some space for mailroom and storage and lobby, but we're not exactly sure how we're laying that out yet.
So at this present moment, this is be more programmatic.
That's correct.
So you may have to come back to this board for finalizing.
It's really not a board.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
just if I could jump in, because
Yes.
architecturally, the interior features, they're not really, we don't have requirements in our land use code for them, and they don't deviate. Typically, we're looking at the exterior of the building, so I don't think that changes in the internal would prompt them to need to come back to this board. Certainly, if you have I think your specific questions are being answered, but
Yes.
we don't regulate the programming internal to the buildings.
Understood. But I'm just thinking about it from a point of view of, if this does go on fire, that the fire department will need to have the floor plan. So I'm thinking about it from that point of view.
So
But I would,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, so what I would say is, post-approval, right?
Yes.
And they have to go to construction, and I'm sure you know this, right? It needs to pass a subcode review.
Yeah.
So it would have to pass building, electric, fire, plumbing, or mechanical, both review and inspection.
Okay.
And I think all of those points fall under the UCC and would be protected as such.
back to one of your earlier questions, between each dwelling unit is a 1-hour fire-rated wall. The corridor is protected with 1-hour fire-rated walls, and the building is fully sprinklered. All 3 stories are fully sprinklered.
But as it relates to this building A, we would agree as a condition of approval to work with the board professionals on those identification signs to make sure that they're satisfied with the size and location and number.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? And it's certainly not gonna be a popular one. I'm just throwing it out there. Is this considered a Jewish development? I hear mikveh, right?
The market would be most likely the Jewish community. It's close to Lakewood,
Is it,
but we can't prohibit,
right, I guess my question is, your things are being put into, I don't want to say cater, because that's a terrible term, but there's amenities towards the Jewish religion that, there's stuff that Russian Orthodox would like, Catholics would like, Buddhists would like, Hindu would like. Why is it only being targeted towards the Jewish religion and not any others, the amenities portions?
From my point of view, and you can answer too, the only thing that would be targeted to the Jewish community would be the mikveh. Otherwise, it's a normal project. But for the mikveh, there's nothing different.
So the mikveh area is about 300 square feet, and again, our client felt like, this mikveh primarily would be used on Friday nights where cars are prohibited. So if somebody, would need to use the mikveh for religious purposes, it would need to be walking distance. And so they felt, our client felt that if a Jew were to buy within the community, this is an amenity that they would look for. So it's not that, they're specifically catering to Jews, but if a Jew would buy, it's something that they would honestly require in order for it to be a viable place for them to live.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, again, I know this is a sensitive topic to discuss, but I'm willing to do it. This is the first application that I've heard as far as I've been involved with Howell, where a development is going in and there is a religious aspect to the development. I'd never seen anything for, again, a Russian Orthodox, a Buddhist. I've never seen anything in a development that's open to the public, right? However, has a religious aspect of the development. It's a first for me. And again, I know it's a very sensitive topic.
Again, this was just part of the amenity package that the client...
Understood, but, if I can make the argument that there's going to be people that, again, are going to feel like, well, how come my religion we're not included with some things that we need as part of the amenity package? Why is it only...
And that might be. If there's a community that moves in that has a need, we'll have to deal with it. It's
Okay.
in the market. But the reality is that that market is predominant in the southern part of Route 9 near Lakewood. And he wants to be prepared to address that if that's the market that comes.
So if I could ask a question, though. Is the mikveh, as part of the community center, introducing a religious use to the property?
I don't know how it's not. That's my whole point in this. It's a development, right? We hear development here. And there's a religious aspect to this development. This is the first I've ever heard of this in Howell Township. And I've been doing this a long time. Laura, Shari, you've been here. Am I incorrect in saying that? Because I don't remember ever a development coming in front of the township with a religious aspect to it.
Well, it's not a house of worship.
Understood, but I think mikveh falls under a religious use.
If you put a room in there with a crucifix for the Christians, is that a religious use if someone wants to go pray in the room? I don't know.
If you call it a praying room, this is a mikveh.
But I don't know
Everybody
if
knows
that's
what a mikveh
religious
is.
group. I don't know if that's a use that would not be...
Is it open to the public? So is your community center open to the public, or is it strictly open to your community?
Only to the residents within the community.
That's right. And the mikvah would be used on a by appointment basis, so that's also,
And does the mikveh have to be blessed?
No.
How is the water recycled?
So there's a collection system on the roof that then gets piped down into the reservoir.
Wait a minute here.
Who's going to operate the mikveh?
So there's a mikvah attendant that would be on premises at all times during hours of operation.
But it's not open to the public,
No, it's open to the residents of the community only.
and just the Jewish residents.
No, anybody can make an appointment, I would say.
So if I was Catholic and I lived there, I could use the mikveh? I don't think so.
Why
It's a good
not?
question.
I
I
don't
don't
know the
think
answer
so.
to that.
So, if I heard you correctly, the water from the mikveh is piped to the roof
No,
and
it's collected on the roof.
collected on the roof
Yeah.
and discharged to the reservoir.
Rainwater is collected on the roof, piped into a pipe, brought down to the ground level. That's all.
Are we allowed to collect?
Wait.
rainwater?
Hold on.
Is the
I'm
actual-
asking, the water, once the mikveh is used, let's say, used may not be the right
Sure.
term,
Okay.
used,
Yeah,
there's water that sits in the mikveh
that stays there.
forever.
There is a pump and, filtration system that cleans the water.
How does that work?
We hire an MEP engineer and they, almost
like
like a pool,
A
yeah.
pool or or jacuzzi or anything like
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe there needs to be some testimony about, like, the use?
I
Like
was
how
going to
one-
say,
how
does
one-
everybody, if you don't know what it is,
Sure.
it's...
I know what it is,
seen it.
but I've also seen them where they're used and a plug is pulled and they go into the ground.
no.
No,
That's not
that's
our
not how
intention here
mikvahs-
at all. No.
That's
I'm
not
not
a
saying
mikveh.
it's yours, but that happens in this township I can guarantee that's happened in this township.
For a mikveh?
No, so a mikvah,
That's a bath.
yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble here, but for the township.
As far as, It's my understanding that a mikvah, that the actual cradle of the mikvah has to be a monolithic concrete structure.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
And emptying a mikvah is a very labor-intensive process that happens literally with buckets if a crack occurs or something like that. But on a regular basis, the mikvah is filtered, and the water stays there like a pool.
Still has to meet the plumbing code.
Sure, sure it will.
Again, okay.
So I think that our client felt like this is an amenity that they want to provide and wanted to be upfront with any potential buyer that this is part of the amenity package. So that's why, we're putting it into the plans upfront. Want to be clear about it from day one, that this is part of the amenity package, along with the community center and along with the pickleball court and basketball court and all the other amenities on the site.
Can I ask you what the square footage of is the community center and the mikveh area?
Sure. The multipurpose room is 1,879 square feet. The recreation room is 560 square feet. I don't have dimensions on the mikvah, but I'm going to approximate it's about 300 to 350 square feet
Okay, so could we call that 3,000 square feet
of amenity space altogether.
of the community center? Yes, every
Oh.
area not being used for apartments in that building.
Sure, I could get you
1879, 560, 3 and change, approximately 3,000. We're not, we're not getting down to the foot. My question is, the 15 apartments that are in the other building, would you have an idea of the square footage on that?
Of all,
Of the 15 units
Sure.
that are in the other building?
Square footage of the units?
Yes. Because what I'm saying is, it's low-income housing, and it should be open to everybody, but now, that area could have been put with the commercial use, and it could have separated the residential area from the community center, the mikveh, everything else going on there. So now, even if you're low-income, essentially we're dropping, for lack of a better term, a project building in the middle of a bunch of townhomes. So it's 84% low-income, which would, So now, if you're dropping it right in the middle there, the community building, everything else is now, those residents are going to be the ones that have to deal with the hanging around, if it's a community building, all right outside their door. Why couldn't we put that towards the community, the commercial side, so it wouldn't affect those residents as much? It's kind of like all the activities got to go where these people live, and they happen to be the low-income people, where you could have put that with the commercial area, and then the residents that live in that building could live a somewhat normal life, not worrying about what's going on outside their door. And, like people hang out outside a community area. Now, these people are going to walk outside, and there might be 15, 20 people hanging out because that's the only spot to go in the community, and they're dealing with that every day. And that goes back to the stigma that it's low-income housing, and, they'll just deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the townhomes, one townhome, it doesn't really matter much. But you have 84% of the low-income put in one building, and they're the ones that have to deal with the community use of that building also, when a lot of that could have been avoided if you put that towards the commercial building, have that be commercial and community center. Let the commercial establishment deal with the community center, and let the people that are living in Building A live a somewhat normal life. That's just my thoughts on it, because it does keep a stigma there. Like I said, if you, they'll worry about it. They'll deal with the noise from the community center. They'll deal with the 8 a.m. wake-ups, whatever's going on from the community center, gatherings or whatever.
Fair enough. I think that could be flipped a little bit too. Well, first of all, we did locate the entrance to the residential portion on the left-hand side of the building and the entrance of the community center toward the back, and specifically on two different facades, just to keep the two uses differently. But, in a way, I visualize it as maybe the people in the apartments want extra space, and having the community center so close, then they, it's a rainy day, your kids want to run around, okay, you could go, go downstairs and run around in the recreation room for a bit, or so perhaps maybe it's almost more convenient for them to be near the community room, just for the extra space.
I Good points. I think, I don't know if we want to take 5. I need clarification on this. To me, it looks like we're here, and, we could continue this till 10:30, but we have a residential development, to me, with again, a religious amenity. That's a first. That's a first for me. I need clarification on that, because, again, if this was a church in a residential development, I would have the same questions, right? I would have the same exact questions as to what that religious component of a residential community entails. Are we voting on, how is that encompassed, Laura, I guess is my question.
So the way I would view this as, it's an accessory use, right? So you have a community center, which, is part of the community, and within that, there are amenities. And so this is accessory to, it's amenity within, not like we haven't seen with gyms. In some cases, you can have that. So in my opinion, I've also never seen it introduced that way, but I look at it as though it's an amenity within the community center building, which is ultimately accessory to the permitted esse of the site. So to answer, I guess, maybe more importantly, I don't see that the putting that in the community space, it doesn't violate how the zoning was written for this parcel.
Okay, playing devil's advocate on that, because people are following this, they're going to watch this video. If there was another development, let's say, with some type of religious aspect, pick a religion, whatever religious aspect, and certain people may say, well, I don't feel comfortable with that. That's almost like I don't want to say a bias, but it's a reason for me not to pursue living there. And maybe I want to live there. Maybe it fits everything that I like, and I like the condo, I like the area, but it's making me feel like I'm not, I don't want to say welcome, but that's not my religion, so why would I even consider it, right? You could throw any religion out there. It's just a weird thing when you...
So, Mr. Chair, one of the other things too, and maybe the board just asked directly, is maybe you just ask, would they consider removing the mikveh from the community center? And maybe they just use that space differently. That's an ask that the board can also ask, because of your concern, right? Like, that it's, it kind of lends itself maybe to one community as opposed to being welcoming. Certainly, the board can ask the applicant, well, look, is that an amenity you'd be willing to eliminate at this time? Yeah. What I will tell you, though, is I don't know that if they decided to, down the line in their community center, put one in, I don't think that would come back to the board, because again, kind of how I answered previously, it's an accessory use within a community center. It's considered an amenity. So I don't think if they tabled it now, and I just want to be honest with the board, that if they decided and if this project was built in 5 years that they wanted to install it, I don't think it would trigger the need for them to come back to a board.
But that would be at the discretion of the HOA? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Fair enough.
But, Mr. Chair, if we could just go through the last...
Sure, of course,
and then
yeah,
take
yeah.
a break, because we have to call the client
Yep.
about the basement entrances as
Yep.
well. And we'll ask about the mikveh.
Yep. All right. Thank you. So what we have before us here is the rendering for Building B. Sorry, just grabbing my notes.
And that has the retail on the first floor and the apartments above,
That's
right?
correct, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, here we are. So Building B is approximately 140 feet wide by 65 feet deep, and 5-foot canopies run along the front and rear of the building to provide weather protection for the retail component. And the building is approximately 38 feet 6 inches in height from average grade to the top of the roof. The ground floor is comprised of 6 retail spaces, and the residential lobby, stairs, and associated access areas. The second and third floor contain a total of 16 residential units consisting of 2 one-bedroom units, 10 two-bedroom units, and 4 three-bedroom units. The building carries forward the same material palette and architectural language established throughout the development, and again, this time adapted for the ground floor commercial use. The base is proposing light masonry finish with storefront windows, and the upper residential floors feature light colored horizontal and vertical siding with contrasting darker vertical elements, similar to those used in Building A. We are again proposing identifying signage at the various doors around the base of the building, along with one sign in front of each retail unit. Smaller signs are also proposed, again, right on the sides and rears, similar to Building A.
Mr. Chairman, just because I was Googling, so this specific zoning, which is ML 16, under the permitted uses, actually, as a permitted principal use, includes a house of worship and/or a mikveh within a community center building. So the underlying zoning, just so the board members are aware, in fact, in this particular zone, which the parcel is in, permits it as a permitted principal use.
Answers my question. Thank you, Laura.
And then the last building, and then we're going to take the break anyway, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Sure. So if we can go down to Building C, this is the elevation that faces the parking lot, and if we go to the last sheet in the packet, that's the, again, Building C, but kind of from the entry road. So at Building C, this is a two-story building with retail on the ground floor and office space above. This is the building that fronts Route 9 and is most visible when entering the development. The building is approximately 100 feet wide and 70 feet deep with a 5-foot canopy running along front and rear. The building is approximately 37 feet in height to the main roof with the, We are proposing 4 retail units on the ground floor along with the lobby access to the office space above. And the second floor contains 2 office suites with the flexibility to further divide or combine the spaces depending on future tenant needs. The building features a masonry base with a combination of dark, light, and mid-tone siding, along with projecting elements at the second floor. The canopy and raised cornice trim provide, additional texture and dimension to the building. And if you see on the last sheet in the packet, if we don't mind scrolling down one more, thank you. There's also a clock tower element that kind of anchors and serves as a recognizable architectural feature. Jen actually identified this as further signage, so just wanted to point that out in the testimony. Overall, Building C utilizes many of the same materials and architectural details found throughout the development. That's all.
That's all the architectural questions.
Any questions?
Yes. These are all these buildings have the same color scheme throughout. There's no variation, just they're all pretty much the same color scheme.
So that was kind of, an intent. This one definitely has the most, I would say, texture, being that it's the one that faces Route 9. But this and the other 2 all do utilize the same materials just to, promote cohesion throughout the development along with the townhouses. Yes.
Any other questions? Anything professionals? No? Sal, you want to take a break?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'm looking
Board
up
will
the phone number.
take a 5 to 10 minute recess and reconvene at 8:45.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, 8:45. We are back on the record. Thank you, Sal.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, 2 things. First,
Sure.
Good news, bad news.
Okay.
The good news is that we will eliminate the basement stairs to all of the townhome units. So the only way to get to the basement would be through the front door.
Interior.
Interior.
Interior front door.
Got it.
We have to also correct that there's only 30 affordable units that are required for this project, which is 20% of the 152 you round down. So we have the 30 in the apartments. There isn't a affordable townhome. There was a mistake in the testimony. It's 30 in these buildings, no affordable townhome.
Okay.
Is that good news or bad news?
I guess it's bad because I think somebody was happy that there was an affordable townhome. To me, it's neutral. And then third, I guess, is the client wants to make the ordinance was designed to have it, and that'll be an HOA management function.
Okay.
Is there an ordinance that permits it? Is there an ordinance that addresses that?
Yes.
Is
It's the
There
zone.
was-
16 was created by ordinance.
Because it's a Mount Laurel development, the requirement is to zone to allow for it.
Oh.
So it's not cost prohibitive. And yes, the towns are supposed to make it easy so that affordable housing is produced.
Okay, thank you, didn't know.
Okay.
But anyone can rent the community center from
Anyone
the
can-
from within the
Within
HOA.
Yeah,
within the-
any resident can use it. Now, I don't know how, that'll be an HOA function, how they determine whether it's rented or if it's just open to the public, or if you could have a party to the exclusion of the, that'll all be HOA. Depends on the community and what the HOA decides.
Got it.
And for all your buildings, having a hard time of why it's so big in mass. Is it for rooftop units to be covered? Is it just for aesthetics? Because I feel like there's a lot of empty space that's not needed and might be an eyesore.
Sure, so,
You do meet in this zone, the
Yeah.
height requirements or anything like, but I just wanted to know
yeah, I
that
mean,
could have been like an
the-
extra floor of apartments.
Sure, so I just want to make sure I understand the question. We're talking about the exterior facades, right?
Yes, about the mass, like
Mhm.
from the final floor up.
see. Okay,
Because when
yeah.
I'm looking at it, it looks like there's 4 feet, but then it's showing from the structure. I'm very technical when it comes to that part.
Oh, sure, sure, please. I'm just gonna pull up the set.
And has your client ever thought of, for having the apartments, of having it be tree lined?
Landscaping? Where
Landscaping with trees. So like if I'm looking at this one as building A, this is where the community center is, you really put shrubs and everything else. But if you are going to be carrying, and this is going to be apartments, and it's going to be in this type of a mass, that there are townhomes which are going to have probably some minor trees, but then the apartments are then going to be standalone, so you can't even use your balcony.
Because there's no privacy.
There's no privacy, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if there's adequate landscape width to have any material trees there. It's,
So if we look at the aerial, I could try to address that as draw.
Yeah, we can do like each step.
Yeah.
So let's first do the massing, then we
Yeah,
talk
sure.
about the trees.
Okay, sure. So the massing. So if you look at page Z4 for the building A,
Yeah.
or it's similar on building B, but you can get a sense of kind of the construction.
Mm-hmm.
So at the second floor, we have 10 feet from the third floor floor plate to the bottom of the roof, meaning the kind of the roof plate. So that gives us a 10-foot ceiling within the unit itself.
Correct.
The roof will need 4'6" for the roof trusses. So that's just a function of the span that it's going across the building.
Mhm.
And then we did include a 3-foot parapet that is for, any mechanical units that would be on the rooftop to hide them, as well as for water collection. It's kind of an industry standard 3-foot minimum. And so that's why you kind of get that height from above the windows at the second floor and those sliding doors at the second floor to the parapet is, 7.5
So it's going to be
feet.
steel construction,
Wood construction,
wooden construction.
yeah.
is there, is the concern is the massing, is there a way to?
Break it up a little?
To break it up even
Yes,
further?
Correct.
Sure, so we have those horizontal bands that are going at the first floor and second floor. We can introduce another band towards the top of the building that would visually break up from above the window to the parapet level.
Because it would be nice, because I do see building C,
Yeah,
which already has the cornices and things like that, but then these two apartments don't. So I think to match with your townhouses, that it should start having, at least that will break it down a little bit more, so the massing doesn't look like one big square. And for other words, I do apologize, I know it's more about the aesthetic. To me, it looks like a jail.
understood. Understood. All right, yeah, we definitely are happy to work with the professionals and with the board to ensure that the architecture is cohesive and that, it's aesthetically pleasing.
Okay, and then for building B, you have, it looks like 4 or maybe 3x3 square windows.
Yeah.
Those are operational or are they fixed? Or they're just there for aesthetics?
Those windows are, I'm just checking where they're adjacent. Those are fixed windows within the living room area. So there's a sliding door in each of the living rooms, and then they're, flanked on either side by those square windows.
Okay, now we can go to the landscaping of trees for more privacy for the people living in the apartments.
Sure, so on the first page of this packet, I can't speak to the landscaping, but I did notice that building A abuts the jug handle, which is heavily landscaped. If you don't mind just scrolling to the first
Correct.
page of the area.
But then when you're thinking about it from the parking lot, you're gonna have then townhouses of people looking, they basically can look into your apartment, but there's no other privacy. So if you want to be renting out these apartments, who's gonna rent an apartment that you, unless, like, let's say I'm a nudist, I wanna go out there, I wanna be on my balcony, everyone can see me. I know it's, but saying. Maybe that's something that your client and the planner should think about.
Yeah, but you typically don't put trees right next to the building.
Not right next to the building, but then you have to create then
Like,
a buffer between the building, a buffer, sidewalk, a buffer, parking.
So if I could, so this area I don't think could get any more, and I would concur that they can't add trees, but I think, Sal, if we look in this area, if I zoom in, it looks like you have low-lying shrubs in this area, and maybe there's some way in there to break it up and get a little bit more green space with actual trees. Their height, I don't think is going to mitigate, right? Because that we're talking about the balconies, I think, are already the second story. So they're going to be higher, second and third level.
Unless you live in the townhouse and the loft looking in.
and then if you go south, there is landscaping there.
Yeah, similar here. I think if you kind of mimic
Right.
that, and, yeah.
It's wider, but we could put we could supplement landscaping there.
And do you know yet what the monument sign actually looks like?
We do, there was a rendering packet submitted earlier. I don't know if that's available.
Earlier today?
No, in the original, I believe it was submitted in the original
Okay.
submission documents. There is a rendering of the monument sign. I apologize, I don't have it on me.
I'm working on it.
No problem.
Sorry for all the questions.
No, please.
Was it on your plan?
It was, I think, a separate rendering packet. If I'm not mistaken, it was maybe 20 pages of renderings. I kind of pulled out the highlights for this packet. No, not this one. Any others that were?
It's not going to be on your plan at all?
No, it was from our designer.
Okay, so let's see. Site plans. How about details?
No. I could be mistaken. I thought it was submitted the full rendering packet. I could be mistaken.
Oh, is that it?
That one,
Wait.
go back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Which
there we
one?
go.
Right here.
D2?
We have to zoom in pretty close.
Okay, there it is. Good eyes.
I look at plans all day long.
So that sign is
That's
the
the,
interior one?
Yes. Yeah, there we
And
go.
that's the Route 9 one?
So pretty much construct just concrete. The sign itself will also be concrete? Or is it vinyl?
So the finish is meant to be a smooth, it's showing as concrete. I almost, in the rendering, it almost looked stucco, but perhaps, but that's the idea, kind of a smooth finish with just the letters, very, minimalistic for the monument sign. And then for the secondary sign, it was just, again, being that there's interior retail, we wanted an opportunity for those retail units to be able to be identified while you drive in. So that was the function of the other monument sign.
And when the larger monument sign, since now you're gonna have multiple tenants, now you're gonna have offices, so I know it says name, but is it gonna be when you go to a corporate park, saying if you're gonna go here, arrow, 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 kind of showing where everyone should be designated as waypoints?
Some of the corporate parks will just say Dr. Jones, Building A, or Unit A1.
Sometimes
or
an
B1.
arrow,
Yeah,
but give
they'll
or
have
take.
to,
We'll have to, yeah.
that level of detail has not gone into the operations yet.
And so this, the only way that this is gonna be lit is only from an exterior light pointing at.
That's correct. It's not interior lit.
May I ask, why is it not interior lit?
It wasn't designed that way, but we're happy to consider it.
Whatever the board wants on that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking more like, if it is an HOA and there's an exterior light, and if the light bulb's broken, the person left for the night, how would anybody know how to get there? So that's why I just wanted to ask that other question in form of safety.
Understood.
And on property, there's not gonna be any street lights, no, there are gonna be street lights, but not lights as in red, yellow, green.
I mean,
Traffic.
traffic signal?
Thank you,
No.
traffic lights, that's what
No,
it's called.
no traffic.
And, sorry.
No, the community's nowhere near large enough to.
Okay.
Warrant
And then,
that,
since it's coming off Route 9, has there been discussions of speed bumps or anything like that, since it's such heavily...
So I think that's a better question for the traffic engineer.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Next. Sorry.
So I guess we need guidance from the board if you want that identification sign for the tenants internally lit or externally lit. We defer to the board.
I mean, I'm personally good either way, but, you know, it's... if you-
It's up to you guys.
If you,
just a
no, it's up
question.
to the board.
There's the ample street lighting.
You're the architect.
Yeah, and
Most of our signs are lit,
and there is
internally lit.
there are other site lights within the. It's not like that's going to be a dark area. It's still going to have regular
Street
lights within the parking lot and the driveway. But we're good either way.
Okay. Do we, again, if you're set on it, it's a board decision, so.
As long as you have on record that if anything were to happen with the light, that the person in charge of the HOA will make sure that it's being replaced.
The HOA is going to be responsible for
All set.
every light on site.
And that actually brings up to the signs again, is about what happens when it snows. And if you're driving, how would anybody, if that's not gonna be lit, there are gonna be still street lights. So I don't know how that would work as well for directional wayfinding.
How would the...
Wayfinding.
As far as directional, if it's on the
Yes.
ground, there's no one-way signs or anything like that. If it snows, how do they know which way to? I mean, hopefully they would plow and see the arrows.
Well, that's the case in every community, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Stay right.
I mean, and that's an HOA, so they'd be responsible for their own plowing.
And most of the people live there. It's not like they're back there, they know where they're going.
Is the HOAs responsible for plowing? I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
everything.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank
You
you very
wanted
much.
traffic. Now
Yeah,
we're
thank you
getting
very
traffic.
much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Hi, Scott.
Good evening.
How you doing?
All right.
We accept your credentials.
You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
State your name for the record.
Sure.
Spell your last.
Scott Kennel, Kennel, with McDonough and Ray Associates, located at 1431 Lakewood Road, Manasquan.
All right, Scott, and you're our traffic expert, obviously. So what conversations have you had, if any, with the NJDOT? And this property has a pretty long history. Wasn't it designed originally for a warehouse project?
That's correct, and I've been involved on this site since 2019, and as part of that, the original proposal, we had a pre-application meeting with NJDOT, I'm going to say 2020,
and discussed generally the design that you see before you here. We have recently, because of the time that's elapsed and change in use, had another pre-app in January of this year with NJDOT. If I remember correctly, Justin Yost from the township was on that call. I think, Laura, you may have been on that one as well. I know there was an invite. You're right. And basically, we discussed the amount of traffic to be generated by this development and the reconfiguration of the jug handle. And I'm very familiar with the jug handle because I was involved with this design as part of the shopping center that's done at Lanes Mill Road, and that was one of the reasons that for that development that this was expanded to have another opportunity for southbound traffic to get to the northbound lanes because of the limitations up at Lanes Mill Road. Well, basically, as required, we had the pre-application meeting, we discussed this concept, and now it's just really subject to submitting a detailed design plans with the traffic analysis. We haven't, again, that process just starting the design. Obviously, we needed to come before the board to confirm, one, the land use proposal, and to assure there's no other aspects that we need to consider. I mean, one of the things that is on this plan that was not as part of the original warehouse was the sidewalk along the site frontage, and that sidewalk plan was developed in concert with the board professionals as well as the Howell Police Department, the traffic safety people. So that's how that evolved. So I don't know if you want me to go through the traffic study and I'll build to that point,
Couple other
or?
follow-ups, just big picture. So there also is on the southern portion of the property, a
Right turn exit.
right turn exit only, correct?
Correct.
And the main entrance would be people making a right onto that jug handle lane, correct?
Well, there's a channelization there for southbound traffic to make a right turn into the site, again, to basically create this two-way roadway in that vicinity by building A. And then anybody that's from the south would use the Estelle Lane jug handle to cross Route 9 at the traffic signal. Now, as part of this proposal, the applicant has obtained rights, because this is something I called out both with the warehouse as well as this, that we need a two-lane approach. Right now, it's a single lane on Estelle as you approach Route 9. Estelle Lane will be widened on the north side so that you can provide a two-lane approach. One lane specifically for left turns or people U-turns coming from the southern that want to go to businesses or other places between here and Alexander. And then a dedicated lane for people to come straight across, which also accommodates right turns, which may be people coming out of the auto repair facility or other residential uses that are on the dead-end section of Estelle Lane east of Route 9.
And then one final big picture question. One of the board members asked about putting instead of the striping at the jug handle.
That is something we can look at and will obviously be subject to NJDOT.
Just to describe that, because I didn't describe it properly.
This grass island here, just extending it all the way back, because the striping really doesn't preclude anyone, if someone wants to, come in here really quick and zip around and do something dangerous, or someone coming around the jug handle and veering into this lane, or
Right.
this is backed up, someone tries to come around and go in there. There's a lot of different scenarios where this becomes a big
I'm sure that's
accidents.
I'm sure that's something we can provide. It may be a 2 to 4 foot in width, depending on how the turning templates work and the geometry. But there could be a raised island, basically from this point back to the other one.
Yeah, I mean, just to extend this, right? You just have curbing and like the little grass.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And I guess while you got me, up here as well, is this a stop right here?
That is a stop. The jug handle will have the right of way,
Right.
and they'll be stopped at that point.
So, let me stand up. I'm sorry.
How's the line of sight
So
on
the line of sight here, the sight triangle, even if you're stopped here,
The
you have to
vegeta-
clear any vegetation.
The vegetation will be modified so it's no higher than 30 inches.
Okay, and then third, this is a bit of a bottleneck here. You have these two coming into one and then into two. Is there any way to carry 2 lanes through here? You know, get rid of some of this landscaping, carry 2 lanes through here, because you already have it widening up here. And then, you know, you might have to put a retaining wall around this basin here to support the traffic load, but it just, you have 160 units, and this is the only way in, and, you know, people are gonna be coming across here, these folks are gonna be making right turns, they're gonna be trying to beat each other to this one lane. There's not a lot of room
Well-
linearly for them to merge here. It's just.
We can look at that. Again, that right turning movement has got to yield.
Right.
All right, forget the pointer's not working. But they have to yield to the traffic coming across from Estelle Lane, which again is approximately 22nd out of every, the traffic signal is operating on a 120-second cycle. 20 seconds of that is dedicated for people coming across from Estelle Lane. So the number of times that that's going to be a conflict, I don't see as an issue, but given your comment, we'll see if we have the room to do that. Because the other issue is, you know, creating the merge point as you get into the site, and there's certain distances you needed. So, you know, the question is, do you do as you suggest and have them merge further into the site while dealing with the right turn into the driveway for Building A? Or do you organize them better at Route 9 so that is a single file coming into the site? So those are things that we'd have to look at.
Understood. I just think regardless of the yield here, folks are gonna be vying for position, and it's, as opposed to it backing up onto Route 9, maybe having it further into the site where the merges might be more amenable, but yeah, please look into it, because it looks
Sure.
like, just visually, you have the width through here, and even if you got rid of, I mean, I know you're just getting rid of landscaping, if you went through here, you probably have enough room through here, maybe skinny up the center line and get 2 lanes and then have some type of merge
Yeah.
into the site. It's something to think about.
Yeah, my sense is when you get into the site, I'd rather have it more single file. But the other thing we could do is where you mentioned between the driveway into Building A, that right turn, and Route 9, we can add pavement, but stripe it as a shoulder. So at least you do have relief. You know what I'm saying? You have pavement, you don't have people pinched by curbing. And again, that's something, again, we can look at and will also be subject to NJDOT input.
And the exit to the south, that can't be an entrance as well? Is it too close to the
It's-
jug handle and would create a queue issue?
It's too close. Well, the question is, if you do that, in all likelihood, they'll ask to have a deceleration lane.
Right.
And that's insufficient distance between it to provide a formal decel lane. So, and then again, you know, it's expected for all intents and purposes that people are going to take the first opportunity to make the right turn in. Obviously, I know we have the townhouse residents that may be closest to Route 9 which say otherwise, but I would think that'd be a small amount. But the main concern was we didn't have enough separation and that DOT would ask for a decel lane. I'll give you an example up at the BJ's. I mean, that decel lane is probably 450 feet that feeds into there, and we just don't have the room for it.
I didn't have a sense of scale, but I figured that was the reason why it was the decel paper.
And then here, obviously, the other advantages to having this, at least exit movement out, one, it's RSI is compliant for multiple points of access, but two, it siphons off traffic from the traffic signal that want to go south. You know, they have another outlet without having to be processed through the traffic signal.
I know this is near and dear to your heart, this stretch of 9 here, and you put all kind of options out. I guess my question is, I've been on this thing 1,000 times. I don't think I've ever had a car in front of me on a roundabout, right? It's like nobody uses it.
Well, that's what amazes me as well.
Yeah.
Because when I did the traffic study for the shopping center, it made sense because of the limitations up at Lane
Sure.
Hill. But for whatever reason, yeah, to me, I mean, there's still another 130,000 square feet to be developed on that shopping center, which is accounted for in our traffic study.
Right.
But you'll never hit the thresholds that we had projected back in the day when we did this 15 years ago.
Has it, I don't know how you do it as far as from a traffic standpoint, but has it ever been considered is this even needed, DOT? Can we just get rid of it and kind of put our development in without, kind of get rid of this roundabout?
No, because if you go further south down to Alexander, that's a very small. So basically, any U-turns that are being made here would be forced out of Alexander, and Alexander has its issues too.
Yeah,
with its
okay.
Wasn't
small.
that part of the previous zoning application where there was a separate LLC trying to buy the jug handle?
I'm not,
That's
that's NJ,
Wasn't there a separate?
Yeah.
I thought there was.
that's NJDOT property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that jug handle's NJDOT.
yeah.
Yeah, that land that in the island is owned by the state.
Yeah. So someone trying to purchase that, that's surprising.
But I've never seen anyone use that intersection, never mind.
I swear to God, I don't think I've ever had a car in front of me on that roundabout, ever. But, yeah, I just,
You will after that.
well, yeah.
I have a question. Did you have to get, like an easement from the state to access this site? Because the way this diagram looks, you have to use that property to get to the site, right?
Well, what there is now, there is a no-access line along the perimeter of that ramp. So that'll be a State House action that has to take place to remove the no-access where we're looking to punch through, which, has been done before. Another example of this is just to the south of West Farms Road, opposite Sunnyside. At Sunnyside, you had the northbound, you had the residential, and there, that was a similar situation where it was just a jug handle with no access. That was modified as a result of that development, knowing that's what was needed to provide access to that development.
But yeah, we need not just the DOT, we need the
State
State
House.
House, which is another layer of bureaucracy that we would have to get permission to cut through that.
What's the turnaround on something like that from State House?
They only meet like once a year, don't
That's
they?
what I thought, it was like.
And sometimes they
yearly, right?
cancel the meeting.
Yeah,
So that would be initiated once we make our DOT submission.
yeah.
But again, back in 2020, the right-of-way division people stated that they didn't see that as an issue. It's more of a formality and getting on the agenda and being
Yeah, yeah.
processed.
Okay.
That's more of the issue.
It could be, I think they meet in January, if I remember correctly. And I did a project in Jackson where we had the same thing.
Yeah, I think you're right, Sal. I think it's once a year.
And they canceled the meeting and we had to wait another year.
Yeah, it might be twice a year, I don't know, but, yeah, it's kind of crazy, okay.
But otherwise, that's the bulk. Otherwise, from an interior point of view, all the drive aisles and the parking and everything conforms to the ordinance and.
It provides positive on-site circulation. I mean, I heard a comment before as far as speed bump. The only one I would maybe consider and see if this is working again, maybe,
Mouthpiece. He has one. I didn't bring mine.
I have another one. Go back to basically a speed bump, I would say a speed table, which could be combined with the pedestrian crossing at this location. That is, as people are just entering the community in a traffic calming technique and device. Again, I'll go right at this location here, is where I recommend it. But other than that, I don't think, other than that, throughout the community with all the parking and the like, I think it's going to be self-regulated. But let me just qualify. Doing that speed table there, that's still something we need to have the Fire Bureau look at and agree to. But subject to their agreement, that would be, I think, a good option at that location of the main access.
Garbage trucks, okay?
Yeah,
I
and
would
just speed
defer to
table.
the board as to whether, the board should really take a consensus on whether or not they want them. I mean, I would tell you if this was a private, public road, I would probably tell you it's not a great idea. Generally, what we find, and if it's only in that one area, I think it's kind of limited, but usually what you find is that people accelerate between them faster than you expect, and then you get noise complaints about people going over them. So I think some level of traffic calming in may not be a bad idea. Maybe that just needs to be a four-way stop, right? There's other things that you can consider, because I do think they are problematic from an emergency services standpoint. And snow plowing.
Also to the point of potentially looking at a merge deeper in the site, it would muddy it up too.
It
Add
would.
the speed table.
That's correct.
But we could work with Laura and the fire department official and come up with traffic calming ways. But other than that, there's, you know,
No, I mean, again, as far as the on-site circulation, and parking, 435 spaces are required, providing 470 spaces. So we meet and exceed what's suggested by the ordinance and the residential site improvement standards, because that's where the parking numbers come from on the residential end of it. But overall, I think the parking is well distributed and will support the various uses we have on site.
Anything else, Scott?
Unless you want to hear about level service, but level service at Route 9 would be a level service B with these improvements, and it would be level service C in the afternoon. It's well within the acceptable ranges by NJDOT.
Any questions from board members?
Is there going to be any bus stops on site?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't talked to the applicant or developer on this.
I think that's a bus stop for regular, like, New Jersey.
That's New Jersey Transit. There's
I'm
one
talking about, like,
out there.
school buses.
Well, there's got to be school buses.
School buses. But I think that's something they kind of have to circulate, and that have to be discussed with
yeah, the
the
board
bus
of ed
company.
would have to determine how and where they would pick up.
All right. I think we're good.
All right, thank you.
Scott. So
That's all,
Sal,
that's all we have, Mr. Chair.
so it looks like you, correct me if I'm wrong, there's some things you're going to take a peek at about as far as change, like how do we want to work this? Because it seems like there's some issues that
So
need to be,
one of two options. The board, what I have is them looking at is, obviously the exterior basement stairs are going to be eliminated.
right.
They're going to work on the architecture of buildings A and B to add like a banner or something at the top, more in keeping with the commercial building, supplementing the landscaping so that there would be some level of a screen, I'll call it to the front or to the rear of Building A, whichever way you look at that. I have ability to widen the entry movement from Route 9, whether that be with a striped shoulder, and would review traffic calming at that first main internal intersection prior to buildings A and B, potentially making that a four-way stop. So that's what I have by way of, also, they would update the signage at the community center and apartment building to be more distinguishing between community center side and apartment side. So what I would say to the board is if you're comfortable, I do think you could act on preliminary and final, but if those are details that you wish to see, the board could grant preliminary and request that the applicant return to the board for final.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like, quite personally, me, I would like to see the traffic thing, again, with my own eyes, to see what can be done as far as, because Mike brings up some really good points.
And if the applicant had preliminary, that would also enable them to, I would think, submit their application to the DOT. So the board could also grant a preliminary and say, after you have your DOT approval,
Yep.
come back. And we know that that's going to be a lengthy process between the approval and then State House. So that would give the ability to at least advance and then come back, and the board could be comfortable with whatever DOT required. I know we have the informal representation, but that would give that opportunity as well.
Okay. I guess we'll do a straw poll. I mean, I'm fine with doing preliminary. But if people are not, kind of gotta see, or if people, yeah, speak up.
The low-income housing,
Affordable.
the affordable housing area, like I said, you're building a community, you're putting these apartments in buildings where there's the affordable housing, and they have to deal with the community center. At that point, if you're gonna put all the affordable housing in one building at that point, I didn't realize I knew that, and maybe make the community center part of the commercial area, because I really feel like the affordable housing has a little bit of stigma being only the apartments. I understand the numbers, but it's, like I said, it's 84% of the available building will be affordable housing, and I think we could design it a little bit better with the commercial, make that be part of the community center and commercial, at least let the residents of the apartments not have added things to deal with having the community center. That's a big stigma.
One of the things is when we crafted this ordinance, we were encouraged to get as much commercial space as possible, right? Otherwise, this would all be townhomes. We wouldn't have any commercial.
No, I'm not asking you to eliminate any commercial, I'm just saying,
I think what they're asking is, can you put the community center in where the commercial building is and move the 16 units and have a 36-unit apartment?
Correct.
And I think the justification that was given, and again, I do want to remind the board that you're looking at an application that has no variances and no design waivers, and it is part of your Round 3 affordable housing plan. So I do want to note that the ordinance doesn't, the way it's designed is consistent with Round 3. It does allow for it to be separated. So I do want to note those things. And I believe what the architect testified to is they think there's a benefit in having some of the apartments with the community center, in that, if it's inclement weather and children want to go downstairs. So, if there's nothing to preclude the board from asking, but I do think they provide why they think that this design works from that component level.
Right, and if we move the apartments there, and we put the community center on the first floor of the commercial, then we lose that retail. Yeah, and that was a big thing when we were designing the ordinance. They wanted retail, so, and we can't put it on the second floor. It doesn't function properly if it's on the second floor. So.
the community can't be put on the second
I mean,
floor?
it could, but it's not, they're usually designed on the first floor so people could just walk in and not go up steps.
You also have
and
to think
walk-
about ADA, Brian.
What's up?
You have to think also about ADA, like
Yeah,
that's
we'd
the
have
only
to
way
deal
of
with that.
access.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
So, and,
That would require, you'd then require an elevator. And now if you're requiring an elevator, at some point again, because it's an affordable housing
Gets cost
project,
prohibitive.
it's going to become.
it's gonna put, yeah.
Correct.
I get what you're saying. That's why I brought it up at the beginning. I get it. However, I think, as Andy and Laura stated, it's round 3, right? This is kind of, it is what it is, right? So I appreciate everybody.
So would it be better, so then I hear you, Ryan, about affordable housing and how it's only in one place and that's only where the community center, but would the board be happy to have it be mingled in, even having some townhouses be affordable housing?
So I don't think you can ask that.
That's
yeah,
not,
we won't do that.
Financially, it's too.
Right, and I do want to note that while there's 36 apartments, so there are some market rate apartments, I know it's a
Correct.
small percentage.
Correct.
And they are commingled, but we can't demand
Oh,
that.
no, we're just like, not demanding, I was just
Yeah.
saying, have they thought about it, of having, because we did one townhouse community across, next to 33, how they intermingled them, and they would never have known that is for low income. That's why I just wanted to bring that up as something that we approved on this board
Yes.
previously.
And I understand where you're coming from. I just think the way this ordinance is written and that it permits this type of mixed use between a townhouse apartment and the commercial, it doesn't say it has to be one or the other. So it kind of fell to the developer to choose how they wanted to develop it. I understand what you're saying. I also understand wanting a community that's commingled. I just feel like because it's a round three plan and because those were the regulations at that time, we don't have the ability to require it.
Right, and I've done other townhouse projects where intermingling was required under prior rounds, or even the current round, and they would have flats, so they'd have, the townhouse would have 2 units, so you're gonna still have the same issue, you're gonna still see that
Or the
that unit's
condos.
gonna be apartment here and apartment here, and then everything else could be normal townhomes, so it's impossible to not distinguish.
Like I said, I just feel it's a project building in the middle of a development.
No,
That's the aesthetics of it.
But and this is not, these are credit-worthy, it's not like you're bringing a project in, these are credit-worthy people who just meet the income qualifications.
Yeah,
Just a quick engineering question, Laura, maybe you could answer. I remember back in zoning when this was a warehouse and there was a bunch of, there was borings, there was test pits and permeability testing done within the basins. And because that site layout at that time had changed so many times, there wasn't the required number of permeability tests to the proper test elevations in the basins because the layout had changed so many times, some of the basins deepened, so the tests were actually in excavated space. Was it a supplemental investigation performed for this project in its current form?
Yes.
With the appropriate number of investigations per the stormwater BMP manual and everything?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have done supplemental testing. That is the last engineering report. Some of the building does not have because of the basement, and we are going to perform additional required testing.
Okay, so
But
there's gonna
the bus stormwater,
Basins A2, C3, and C5 in our technical
Yeah.
attachment, which they did agree to.
right,
So there's some supplemental information, but to your point, updated information
Yes.
was done in the area of these
Right.
basins.
So it would also behoove us to do a preliminary approval only to see that that information comes back as to make sure there's no constricting layers there that would preclude
Right.
infiltration. Right, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion for approval of preliminary, you got 3 options, right? You have approval of preliminary and final, you have approval, a motion for approval of preliminary, or you have a motion of denial. That's the 3 options. So, if everybody would like to speak up, I'm willing to entertain.
Oh, yeah, well, there's nobody here. But, Mr. Chairman, technically, we should open to the...
I'll open it to the public.
Yeah.
The 3 people that were up here speaking.
There are public.
Come on up, Scott, say something. All right, close it to the public.
I'll make a motion to approve preliminary.
Mr. Mercer is a motion for preliminary approval only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Beto seconds.
Mr. Beto?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes?
Mr. Carbonek?
Yes.
Mr. McNicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Mercer?
Yes.
Councilman Rebel?
Yes.
Mr. Wetko?
Yes.
Ms. Corr?
Yes.
Chairman Heiser?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thanks, Sal.
pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. I guess do we have any master plan updates?
No.
Okay.
September.
Oh, okay, meeting in September.
Second.
Going on vacation.
The plan is for the second
The second September meeting?
meeting, correct.
Okay.
Like September 2nd?
The second
The
meeting.
second meeting that we have in September.
Okay.
So we are, the next meeting, Lisa, September 3rd?
September 3rd.
And the 17th?
And the 17th, yes.
That will be our next meetings.
That's the third is the Thursday before Labor Day.
Yeah.
Email and make sure we're gonna have that.
I have no life, so I'll be in Howell, New Jersey.
Yeah, we have to make sure we have a quorum for that one to get the ordinance.
Is anybody taking a last-minute vacation the first week of September?
I am September 3rd.
So you're not here the 3rd?
I am not.
Okay, is everybody else here? I'm holding you to that. All right, well, quorum. All right. Check your emails, please, prior to that meeting. And then the 17th. For an ordinance. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, everybody.